Hey team, welcome to another episode of Two Friends Talking Shit About FPL. Another holiday episode. We've skipped I think the last episode, but a lot has happened. There's been lots of points, lots of red flag players. Let's catch up on it all. Sam, how you going?
Good, mate. The merriment is over. The festive fixtures are done. It's time to get back into the nuts and bolts and the most important thing about this year. That's the second half of this EPL season, second half of the FPL season. We had a big double game week that we've just gone. How do we go?
All right. Well, where would you like to start? Because I think that a lot has happened since our last episode.
I mean, I think the big thing that we to talk about is that even with all the rotations that we've had of late and all the multi players that have played with the quick fixtures, is we've been kind of a lot of players have been creeping to that 5 yellow cards up to game week 19. Obviously, game week 19, there's no longer a suspension for 5; it goes up to 10. So we've had about 20 players slowly creeping their way to 5, and then I think this, like with Mr. Bruno's red card last week, missing a game this just gone, and I think we've got Timbers now missing one. I think there's Rogers is missing one. I think we've got a couple of big players missing some games, and if they'd have just gone one more game, they'd have been free and clear. But no. So if it's not difficult enough, we've got yellow card mayhem to sort out as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The one player though, which I was surprised he'd managed to get away with no yellow card for so long, and I have a funny feeling maybe this is why his score has been lower, is Nicholas Jackson. I think he's just purposely has been incognito so that he doesn't get the yellow card.
Yeah, and I obviously played the last game just gone. He was off the pitch for about 55, 60 minutes, only got the last half an hour, and that didn't turn out too good for Chelsea in the end, losing 2-0. So, yeah, look, let's get into it. I'll show you my team we got 2 weeks to look at, don't we? 2 weeks to look at. So I'll show you the first one. We'll go back to game week 18, which was the first of the double game week. Well, we're calling it double game week. We didn't do a pod last week because Christmas and all that. So this is me for game week 18. Not fabulous. It's not fabulous in the end, but let's run through. So I played Fabianski, who got 2 points, and not great. Went off after 35 minutes with a head injury. Still got a save point, so could be worse. But I could have had Sells down there, who's sitting there with 8 points sitting on my bench. But Hall with 6, Gabriel 6, Timber with 9, Mr. Bruno with his -2, Palmer with 10, Diogo Jota with 1. Thank you for that. Salah captain 18, Isak 8, Jackson 2, and Gabriel Jesus 2. Bench Sells with 8, Kirkes with 6, Robinson 1, and Rogers 2. So all in all, a bit of a murk game week. It was a small red arrow for me that week, I reckon. Overall,
You did go a -8 though.
yeah, I did, and that worked out well, didn't it, with Bruno?
This is the second time this season where I think Bruno got you a -2.
Yeah, it's the second time I've had Bruno and immediately regretted it. But I sold Saka with his injury, and I had a little bit of extra money. I thought maybe there's a few points in there for Bruno, so I went him. Now it's tossing up whether he's worthwhile. But anyway, that was game week 18. Andy, how did game week 18 check out for you?
Game week 18, I went -4, but I ended up with 81 points, so I'm actually quite happy with that. I had Raya in goal with 6 points, Timber with 9 points, Vardiel with 2, TAA with 2, Palmer with 10. I brought in Gordon for Saka. That ended up really well, so Gordon got 10, Ahmad with 2, Salah with 18, Jackson with 2, Cunha. Yeah, I just keep holding him because even though he's meant to be banned, he just hasn't been. So Cunha with 12 and Isak with 8. And my bench. Hey, one thing. I think my Stolacic guy, the guy who I always bought because he was red flagged, he's actually a fully playing goalkeeper. He's played the last 90 minutes. How good's that?
Yeah, he's in at the moment, which is a bit ironic. But hey,
Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Yeah.
same with Fabianski for me though, mate. Like I picked him because he was cheap, and then he nicked the starting spot. So you win some, you lose some.
Absolutely. So yeah, overall 81 points, and I end up with a red, a green arrow. And I think this is so a 1 hour head to head. And I think you know how we talk about with a head to head, we're not that far in points in terms of our points in our head to head, but
Mm,
there's a gap in the total points. I
mm,
think that is a good example of when like because like I won that round, but that was by like a 20 point, not a 20, not exactly 20 point, but close to a 20 point margin.
mm.
Whereas you win the week after, but that was by like a 5 point margin or 6 point margin. I think
Same way,
those
yeah.
are the times where the swings are a bit bigger. But end of the day, though, I mean, as long as we keep getting green arrows on the total overall rank and our competition stays tight, like I don't like in our internal head to head, I don't think the total team points really matter too much. It's that end of the day, it's the number of wins, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's it, and that's what's killing it at the moment, isn't it? It's the number of wins that's made you pull clear a little bit. So yeah, it was a decent game week for you. I think 80 odd points it was a good score that week. So so that was 18. How did 19 look for you? Obviously,
19,
we
I'll
just
share
finished
19.
19
Yeah,
this morning with Arsenal's 3-1 win away at Brentford, which would have been
so I'll
better if it was
share
a 3
that.
0 one.
This is 19 for me. I got 82 points. I did a neg 4 again, surprise but surprise. I did Raya to sells, which ended up really well, so that
Mm.
I'm glad I did that. Timber with 1 point, and now his red flag kind of sucks. Colwill, I was so surprised at. They lost to Ipswich. I did not see that coming, to be honest. TAA fit with the 15 pointer, that was smooth. Palmer to Gordon 6. Gordon has been a really good transfer in. I've been happy with that. Rogers with the 11. Rogers, like I've seen his price go up and down. Look at this price. He's gone from 5.4 down to 5.3, up to 5.4, down to 5.3, up to 5.4. People keep transferring Rogers out, but
Yeah.
I don't understand why. As a enabler, his price point and his score, why would you just ever transfer him out? He's that cheap player that you just should always keep. So I don't
Mm.
get why people transfer him out. But yeah, I'm happy with Rogers' score. Salah with mate, Mo Salah, the Egyptian king. Look at that. That is just mental. Look how many double digit holes there are.
Mm.
It is crazy. It is just absolutely mental. Anyway, Nicholas Jackson with the 1. Cunha, this was disappointing to be honest. He only played 45 minutes. I really could see if he played the full 90 with Tottenham, he would have been on the scorecard for sure. And Isaac with 7. Then on the bench, I've got Solachik, Ahmad, Robinson. Hoyson was the other person I transferred in. I went neg 4. It cost me. I didn't even play Hoyson, so why did I go neg 4? He was going up in price. That's why. And I knew I wanted Hoyson for a while, which is silly because he's got Chelsea and Newcastle, so and then Liverpool. So I'm barely going to play him. I just wanted Hoyson. So probably not my best moves, but there we are. I lost our head to head, and I got a slight red arrow in this last game week just finished, game week 19. But game week 18 got me a huge red arrow, and I can't believe this, but I'm 172k. Like this is surpassing. I know we're only halfway through the season and it's a marathon, not a race, but this is surpassing my expectations of what I wanted to aim for. Like I was like, oh, if I can end up in the top half a mil, I'd be really happy, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like but I think my other goal was to beat last year, and I think last year I ended up at top 250 or 300k. So I just want to beat last year. That'd be good.
Yeah. I think the two things to note from yours, your point about Rodgers, I think, is probably when Rodgers' fixtures turned, Semenyo's turned the other way. So I think a lot of people probably went Rodgers to Semenyo, and now we're going back to Rodgers, potentially.
Mm.
Um, there's been a couple of other people that we've kind of jumped between a little bit, but yeah, Rodgers has been a keep for me, and if he's not got a good fixture, he goes on the bench. Like, if Villa do anything constructive, he's generally involved. So yeah, I'm with you. He's been a set and forget for me, and there's been weeks where I've toyed with moving him out, but he's generally just stayed in the end because it's been easier. And you're
Yeah.
talking about Cunha, who's now banned and injured, so he gets a 2 game ban, one of which is in the FA Cup and one is against Forest, and he's actually injured anyway, so he would have missed the games regardless. So if you've held Cunha, I think you've done well, but that maybe the fixtures aren't great going forward, so maybe there are better options.
I think the moment they turn good again, Cunha is someone I'd want.
Mm.
We'll go through our transfers later on, but Cunha is someone I want because he's the highest scoring striker at the moment. And just that point on Rodgers, it's weird. I want Ollie Watkins in my team. I don't trust his minutes at the moment because he lost his place to Duran, and he only played because Duran's injured. I
Yeah.
almost trust Rodgers more than Duran at the moment. It's crazy. He's Ollie Watkins. We remember him from last year. How has he fallen so far?
Yeah. I know. I was close to bringing Watkins in when Duran injured, but I didn't go in the end. So my 19 looked like this. So just winning our head to head for the week. And that make -4. If I'd have done that move, I would have lost to you. So that's good. Rotated Sales back in for 6 points. Robinson with 4, Gabriel with 2, and Timber with 1. Rogers 11, Palmer 2, Jota with 6 came on and got a late goal. Salah with 32. Captain Isak 7, Jackson 1. Gabriel Jesus coming in clutch at the end with these 12 points.
Saved by Jesus.
Fernandez on the bench with nothing. He didn't play. Hall with a 12-pointer. Kirkes with a 1. I'm always frustrated with the amount of points I've got on the bench, but someone in one of my track groups, one of the lazy FPL groups, talks about that if you've got points on the bench, it means you've picked good players. So I think that means if there's good players in that squad, the fact that they're on the bench and not on the pitch is slightly frustrating. But like you say, I think you said it a couple of weeks ago. At the end of the season, I'm going to calculate how many points I had on the bench for the year and see kind of how many. If we're getting a good player, like if we're getting a 200-point player, because it's getting silly, I think.
Yeah, and awesome thing though, green arrow for you, which is awesome.
Yep. So I managed to make up the red arrow from the week before and a bit more. So still tracking upwards generally, which is good. So sorry, I whipped it away before I could see where. So that's put me up to 1.5 billion. So we're kind of creeping into that top 1.5 million. So yeah, my short-term goal is just keep banging on towards the million. And as you pointed out a couple of weeks ago, that the point gaps between like 2 million and 1 million is a lot smaller than it is between 1 million and 500,000. So it's easy to make up that distance first and then slowly trickle your way up. So just keep pushing.
Yeah, yeah, and mate, I like. Here's the thing. I think naturally this is a marathon, or not a race, and naturally what's going to happen is the longer you can keep it out, like hold on for it, and just keep playing, your rank automatically goes up because there's so many people who lose interest and people drop off. So I just believe this is one of those things where it's like you climb. This is a game of attrition in a way because it's such a long season, right? So naturally you're gonna I think just by pure playing, and if you just don't do much else, you're gonna be within a million, I reckon. Yeah. And if you don't make any crazy decisions, and then you just descend. Depends on whether you want to take a few of those risks. I look at your team, and the one player I really want is Gabriel Jesus. Mainly because I'm an Arsenal fan, and I've only got one Arsenal team. Like I went from having 3 Arsenal to 1 in the space of like 2 weeks, right? And I want Gabriel Jesus in, especially with Saka out. He's actually way more nailed on. He's a striker. He's been performing, which we didn't see this earlier in the season. Yeah. But we'll see. We'll talk about our teams in a moment.
Yeah, and Gabriel Jesus can be a bit patchy. He gives us well in patches, and then so I think a lesson I learned from earlier in the season is as soon as he hits a patch where maybe he's gone a game week or two without a result, I think I need to quickly move him out because it could be an extended dry spell. And we know Arteta does like moving his pieces around. Havertz didn't play the game against Brentford; he was ill, so that kind of secures Jesus in that attacking role. Havertz can play there. They have played Martinelli up the top there. They have played Trossard, so it is a bit of rotation risk. But I'm thinking until the Champions League kicks back in, I think he's pretty safe. And he was a bit of a differential when I brought him in. And it would be if he'd have got a goal in that first game, I think it would have worked out a bit better. But 12 points from him, I think it was a decent enough risk. And that's when I was talking about my risk strategy and how I like to go with a risk, whether it's with lessened risk. When you lose Saka from the team and he's not playing, I feel that Jesus is a lessened risk because he's probably going to play because they've got more spots available and he's going to be in that number 9 role. So it's not like I'm picking a left field pick. It's someone who's more than likely going to be in the team now with Saka out. it will get difficult when Saka starts to return to fitness as to when he's going to come back in, because we know what Arteta's like. We know that he's 2 weeks away and yet he's on the starting sheet the next day. So when that happens, it's time to reconsider. But until then, I think he's a good little differential that I've still got.
I think Saka will be a while away. I think he's actually had a hamstring surgery,
Yeah,
right? Like with a surgery, you'd expect to be out for several weeks at a minimum, I would have thought.
yeah, and I think Arteta's rough time frame was 3 months to start with. So well, I'll have to wait and see. But it does give us another option. It's as you say, when we get a leg up on those teams that are what we call dead teams now, where no one's playing, they are probably going to have Haaland and a Saka in that. So if Haaland's been blanking, Saka's now injured, they're going to have some red spots in those teams.
Next minute, Haaland starts getting his braces and hat tricks again.
Well, like we said in game week 1, we know what City are like for the last 10 game weeks of the season, and they are red hot. So let's not count them out. Let's not count Haaland out.
If it wasn't, like, honestly, I've been playing around with a team with Haaland in it. The good thing is, if I sell Trent, I'm only ever 2 moves away from Haaland. Right? So I'm only 2 moves away from Haaland. I've been so tempted to bring Haaland back in, not going to lie. But City's fixtures are taking a turn. Again, like not yet. They've still got a few good fixtures, but then they're going to start becoming a bit harder. I'm going to wait until they turn good again. So I think I think game week 25, maybe off the top of my head, around then it starts turning good again. Then I'm going to look at trying to bring in Haaland and maybe a wild card into Haaland or something like that.
Yeah, it's a good plan.
And then
like
hopefully by... Oh, sorry, you go.
I was going to say that we're just looking at transfer window wise. I know there's still a little bit of talk about Trent and whether he's going to go, if he sign a new contract, go on a free at the end of the year, or get sold in January. So that might force your hand a little bit. I don't think he's going anywhere in January. I think Liverpool will play hardball with him, so I don't think he's going anywhere, but just something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, there's a few people talking about moves. So, here's the thing: you can never be fully trusting of rumors either. Yeah. But talks of Arsenal was after Isaac, Cunha potentially going to Man City and things like that. Because if the likes of Cunha go to Man City immediately, I don't think I'd own Cunha because he'd be competition for Haaland. But would he be number one? I don't think so. Yeah, you just don't know until the transfer window's closed. So maybe over the January, it's a good time to save up a few transfers. I keep saying that, but do I save transfers? No, I don't. I do neg 4 every single week.
Yeah, look, I mean, we talk about January transfer windows. There's not often a big explosive person who comes in the middle of the year, but from memory, I think Luis Diaz joined Liverpool in January. Isak, I think, joined Newcastle in January. Bruno Guimaraes, I think, joined in January the year before. So there is January transfers that have interest and that have potential. And if we're looking at the teams like City, who are trying to change things up because something's not working, United, who have a new manager now since the last transfer window, need some new players. These are probably the teams that we're looking at. Teams like, if you say like Cunha goes to City, who did the Wolves bring in to replace him? I think they're the kind of players we're looking at, not the $80 million players who won't be coming in January.
No, and also Arsenal need a replacement for Saka if they even want a shot for the title. It's looking further and further away, but yeah. I mean, they need a replacement for Saka. The squad depth isn't looking that great at the moment.
Yeah, and I think there's always rumours, like we said last week. I know that Liverpool have been rumoured to be in touch with Robinson and Kirkes and Anthony Gordon again, and the bloke from Deportivo, I think he is. And there's just so much noise around transfers, and it would surprise me if Liverpool were to go in the market and not pick up either a right back or a left back, which seems to be the position if they lose Trent, or with an aging Robbo, or a striker to replace Mr. Nunes, because he's not done much. And I think they might need someone in that role with the injury likes of Jota up the front.
Yeah, fair. All right, well, this upcoming week, have you made any moves?
Well, yes, I have. So, just before we get into teams, let's have because a lot of my transfer this week is a bit of a change in strategy for me. So I've been going on the eye test, how people look, and results based things, and less kind of patches. I want players for patches and not games. this week I've picked someone up who's very much a for this week player that I transferred someone out that I was like, I'm a bit tired of some 2-pointers, and there's potential in this next game for me. I'll give you a guess of what you think I've done.
What position?
Ooh, forward.
Forward. Oh man. It's not Watkins, I don't think.
No, it's not Watkins.
Hang on, let me just have a quick look at the. I would say it's either Wissa or someone from Liverpool, because Wissa
Put you
plays
out your
Southampton and. Huh?
I'll put you out of your misery.
Yeah.
I have done Jackson to Cody Gakpo. So I'm sitting with a Liverpool midfield of Jota, Salah, and Gakpo for the game against Man United.
Bro, you got triple pull.
Yeah. This is probably the
I like
gamble.
your front line. Isaac, Jesus, and Gakpo, or like it looks solid. Does Gakpo play that much though?
He's played the last 6.
Oh wow!
So,
Did not realize that.
Jota has been injured. I mean, ideally, I probably would want Salah, Gakpo, Diaz, but I don't want to use another transfer on that position. So for now, that's how I'm going. For me, this game against United is either a 0-0 or it's a 4-5-0. Like, United looked lost at sea in that last game. I had a bit of a manager bounce, and now we're kind of learning the trenches again with Man United. So I fear this could be. It's either going, like I say, it's either going to be a 0-0 or it's going to be a mauling. So if it's a mauling, I want to be spreading those points across my forwards, and I think they will all get time. And if it is a mauling, there'll be goals throughout the game. So I could see, like that. There's a scenario where it's 4-5-0. You know, we talk about the 7-0 from a few seasons ago at Anfield, and then there's also a 0-0 or a cheeky 1-0 United win. So I'm going with a bit of a bet on this. I'm kind of happy to move away again. So from Jesus or Gakpo, I think Isak's a long-term keep for now. So I'll have a look. Hopefully it works. And then, the week after, Liverpool have got Forest. So it's not great. But then Brentford, Ipswich, Bournemouth. So like if I need to hold some players, I can. But I'm kind of looking at doing, after the Man United game, looking at doing Diogo Jota to, and I know I lectured you on Crystal Palace, but I'm looking at doing Jota to Eze for the game week after.
Why? Out of curiosity.
Eze has started to put up some good numbers. He's starting to put some shots in. He's back to the highest shot-taking midfielder. Palace, they're not as bad as they have been, and they are scoring some goals, and Eze is generally involved. They've got a green patch of fixtures, and honestly, there's no one else really in the price range that I'm looking at who fits the bill. Like, he's not going to play every game for me. And if I move Jota down to Eze and hold him for a few weeks, then if Saka is 2 to 3 months away, then I'm free to go Fernandes back to Saka.
Mm. Is there any temptation for Gordon at all? I'm surprised he hasn't popped up for you.
Yeah, look, I do think he's a good pick, but it's just so the next games, Spurs, Wolves, Bournemouth, Southampton, Fulham. Yeah, definitely consideration. I think by the time we get to the end of the next game week, that would be Eze's my loose pick that I would go to, but I think Gordon definitely becomes an option. Mine, Newcastle at the moment are good, and they're winning and they're scoring loads of goals. They look good, but Newcastle seem to be a team that at any given moment lose their way and can't score again. And I would have 3 Newcastle players, 1 in each slot, and I'm not sure whether that's the smartest option. But yeah, there's some different routes that I'm looking at. As I keep benching Hall for all of his 12 pointers, it probably doesn't mean much if I get rid of him.
Oh gosh. All right. I can see the logic behind that, and I like your Jackson move because you must have done that before he went down in price. So I've lost point 0.1 mil on Jackson, and I think he's going to go down again once more, which means I'll lose. So I've lost point 0.1. He's gone down one more time, and he's about to go down one more time again, which means I would lose point. I can't. I think I want to transfer Jackson out because I don't want to lose point 0.2 on a player. Like that's just a bit too much for the way I play this game.
Yeah, and I had a point 0.1 buffer on him when I sold him, but I kind of, it's the time of the year where you miss the rises, you don't look in time, you've missed it, and you priced out. I knew Jackson was going down, and I knew Gakpo was going to go up in the next couple of days. So I was like, let's just do it now. I'm not losing on Jackson yet, but I'm not going to lose because I'm not going to miss the next one. I'm not going to miss out on Gakpo's rise. Just get it in, get it done. And Liverpool played fairly early in this game. It's not like Arsenal that we've waited 2 days after everyone else has played for them to play. So I knew he came through that unscathed, and I knew he was going to be ready for the next one. So it was just an easy move.
Actually, sorry, I lie. I just checked. Sorry, this next Jackson drop, I won't lose any value on because I lost already point 0.1 before. So this is only second drop in a week. Yeah, I'll show you my team. I've only made one move. I may go neg 4. So my team's actually full of red. So I've got Sells against Wolves, which I don't mind because Cunha's out. Colwill at the back against Crystal Palace, Robinson against Ipswich, Hoyson against Everton, and Alexander-Arnold against Man United. So I actually quite like my defence. Then I've got Palmer against Crystal Palace, Gordon against Tottenham. I expect there to be goals in that game. Captain Salah, he's in blistering form. I wouldn't captain anyone else at the moment. Jackson against Crystal Palace away. Now, I am thinking, will he just go harder now that his yellow card thing has been reset, potentially? And the fact that he played less last game, it showed you Chelsea just wasn't as good. So I really hope that he plays more. And Isaac against Tottenham. And my transfer for the week was Cunha, who's red flagged, to Chris Wood. I was actually going to go Cunha to either Watkins or Wood. I ended up going to Wood. A bit of me was like, oh, maybe I should have gone Cunha to Jesus. But the thing is, Wood was going up, and Jesus hadn't played. So for me, it was like, oh, okay, I'll make that transfer. I really want Jesus in. I won't lie. And then on the bench, I've got Timber, who's red flagged, Ahmad against Liverpool. I'm not playing him, and Rogers, who's red flagged. So I've literally got bugger all bench cover. Yeah, my bench isn't looking great. So if I did make another transfer this week, it'd probably be like, this sounds so sideways, and for a neg 4, it wouldn't be worth it. But I have wanted Gabriel from Arsenal for a while.
Yeah.
He's my preferred Arsenal defender. I just got Timber because of his price point. At 5.7 mil for an Arsenal defender, he's great, right? So I could potentially go Timber to Gabriel. Very sideways move, but Gabriel has more attacking potential. Because then that gives me a backline of like, I always play Trent, I always play Gabriel, and the third person will just rotate between Colwill, Robinson, and Hoyson. Or it'd be Jackson out to insert someone else because I'm kind of, or even Colwill to Gabriel. I don't know. Like, I kind of am not enjoying 3 Chelsea at the moment. They have really not performed over the last few weeks. But they are playing Crystal Palace this week, so maybe they can pull something out of the hat. I don't know. So I think I will go neg 4. I just don't know what that neg is going to be at the moment. And team value-wise, I've got... Here's the thing. You know how we were talking about strategy, and my strategy always was to build squad value until I could like bling out later on in the season.
Yeah.
I've got 103 squad value. I've got 4.1 mil in the bank. I'm 2 moves away from like Haaland on this team, but there's no changes. Like I can't spend that 4.1 mil. Like I wish Watkins was firing so I can like flex and bring in Watkins, but he's not firing, so there's no point in me bringing him in. So this is the downside of playing the value game is having all the extra value isn't doing that much. So I'm currently first in our overall, mini league. The person who's second place has a 101 team, like total value, including cash in the bank. So I've got 6 mil more than they do, and they are literally just behind me in points by a smidge, right? So that's just like showing what team value isn't really paying off right now.
Yeah. So I'm just throwing the league up so we can have a look, like you say. Um,
Oh, I'm second. No, I am first. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
yeah. So like that, and 108 points for the year
Wild.
for the week just gone. Um,
But look at his team value.
and like, still an active player as well. Like, just had all the hauls in there. Like, look, it's just Palmer and Jackson. So both the Chelsea boys not hauling, but like as you say, squad value 101.7, nothing in the bank. So yeah, it's the strategy that you've chosen, and it might. And what you said the whole way through is that you keep that money for when it's needed. And I don't think anyone is saying that Haaland is not going to hit another patch this season. I think it's only a matter of time, whether that's some fresh blood coming into City or that's Haaland picking it and going for it by himself. Like, there's going to be some high price options. Like, Saka is going to come back again. So, if United hit some form and we want Saka and Fernandes and Jesus, and like, the money's still going to be important. It just isn't important at the moment.
Yeah. So normally I end the season at about 110 total squad value, right? This is the season where I probably have had the most cashed up. Like, I'm on 107 and we're halfway through. I'll probably aim for the 110 because that would then, imagine if having the extra 3 mil lets you have the likes of, you can have freemium, you can have a Salah, Palmer, Saka in the mid and have a Haaland while you still have a Isaac and a Chris Wood, and you've got maybe one premium defender. So that's what I would like to aim for, but once again, it comes down to do those high-performing people, high-priced people perform? Because if they don't, then it doesn't really mean much. Having the new managership is something which is interesting because all of a sudden, people who don't have the cash in the bank right now can't afford that new manager.
That's right. So that's where you've got to be mindful of your transfers going forward. Now, talking about the manager trip, have you thought about when you're going to look at playing any of your chips?
Yeah, look, that's a really interesting one because if I look at what chips I've got left, so everyone's got the wild card again. That I'm going to leave. I think this second wild card, I don't wild card as early the second time around. I normally wait until like it's desperately needed. I need a whole team restructure.
Yeah.
So that leaves bench boost, free hit, and the new manager chip. The new manager chip though lasts 3 weeks. So playing the new manager chip locks you out of playing any other chip. That's just something to keep in mind. So you're either playing. When are the chances that you play new manager chip? You either play the new manager chip when there's double game weeks, or if you can identify some freaking amazing run of fixtures, right? Yeah. But because this is the first time the new manager chip is in play, I can see the upside of a new manager chip. The upside is better than a bench boost or a free hit, potentially. Like, that's how I'm seeing it at the moment. And maybe I could be totally wrong, but... Oh, shit. My internet. Sorry, I think my internet's playing up, but I could be totally wrong, but I think the upside of using the new manager chip is way better because if you think about it, you can use the free hit on a week where there's blank game weeks. You would never use your new manager chip on a week where there's blank game weeks. So the free hit I'd almost save for a blank game week or a later double game week if there's no terrible blank game weeks where half my squad's gone. Right? So I'll save my free hit for one of those two options, which means free hit off the table, which means new manager chip. Well, when would I use it? Well, would you use a bench boost on a double game week? Probably not. Like, I don't know if I would. Maybe. It depends on how many double game week players I have. But if I'm using the free hit on a double game week later on, and we think we got about 2 this season, then the new manager chip's going to be used for the second double game week, which means I'll probably bench boost at a random... I don't know. The bench boost might just be at a random time where everyone in my team plays someone good.
Yeah. So I have kind of had a look, and I've tried to come up with my own strategy, and I've ended up coming to looking at a strategy that was put forward by Ben Crellin, who's a fantasy whiz, can like nail down when all these things are going to be. So we are talking that the Um, Game week 24 might have a blank in it, I think, because that's the EFL Cup final, a semi-final. So
Do
that
we
might
know who
have one in
blanks?
there. As will February 4th. So that's game week 24. But there's very few teams in there. So if you're thinking going forward, we know Liverpool have got a double game week, and we know Everton have got a double game week. Liverpool are in the semi-final of the League Cup, so there's potentially another one there. And if they get far in the FA Cup, that's potentially a third double game week. Because if they get to, I reckon it's the semi-finals, then they're going to have blank game week in 34. So there's potentially quite a few options there. So the strategy that Ben Crellin has put in is that seeing that Liverpool might get through to the latter stages of quite a few competitions, that the chances of that double game week with Everton going in before game week 30 is quite high. So you've got a double game week in there, and I think that's probably going to be triple captain. Is going to be against Everton and other team. Then we've got a double game week in 33, which is loosely when they go in normally. We've got a double game week in 36, which is generally where you get the big double game week. It's normally big double game week 36. And blank game week normally falls 30, 33, 34, and that's where the FA Cup semi-finals are. So the strategy that he's put forward is wildcarding in 30, assistant manager chip 31 to 33, because that's where the gap is. Free hitting in blank game week 34, because you could potentially have Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, all not playing. Bench boosting in double game week 36, and triple captaining in whichever game week Liverpool play Everton at Goodison. So that's loosely where I'm sitting, I think, is waiting to see a bit further down the line, because I think it's quite easy to use one of those chips now and then go, shit, Liverpool are playing Southampton away and Ipswich at home, and then you're like, oh, that would have been a great week, and people come out of it. And by waiting, I think I can maximise my returns from missing the Haaland triple captain early in the season. By waiting to an opportunity where those owners don't have the chip anymore and can't use it, I think is going to be my best bet.
Yeah, a Liverpool double game week for a triple captain is, yeah, that's a good one. I like that is solid. You know what? Hearing you share that strategy, I will copy trade that because that is way better than me bench boosting at a random time. Here's the thing with a bench boost. Yeah, I think you'd almost want to. You're like transferring enough double game week players in that you do the bench boost so that. Oh, yeah, I don't know. The bench boost is always the hardest ship I find to use because normally I have my best 11 playing on the field.
Yeah. And that's, I think, where this plan comes in, that you wildcard in 30 with a good set of players. Then even though you've got the assistant manager chip in play for 31 to 33, you still have the transfers that you can use to move in the appropriate players. You're free hitting in blank game week 34, so you can't use your transfers in that week, but you still keep your free transfers. And then you're then hitting bench boost in double game week 36. So we say double game weeks for those players who know are going to play twice. Now we know we can never say that, but you're looking at like your Fernandez's, your Salah's, your Haaland's, your Palmer's. They're gonna play both games. If you transfer them in, you're gonna get 4 points, hopefully minimum. So it's kind of a -2, not a -4 to bring those players in if they're going to get extra things. Again, lots of teams are going to have double game weeks, so it is minimised a little bit. But waiting and seeing is my chip strategy this year, because I always rush in and go, I'm going to use that, I'm going to use this, I'm going to use that. And then I get to the end of the season and I watch the gap get bigger as people use chips in better places and having watched it unfold. Like, I'm not opposed to playing the bench boost in game week 38 if I get to it and I haven't used it. Like, at the end of the day, if a really good opportunity doesn't come up, you can just hit them like one after each other. Like, and it's fine.
Yeah, that's true. So it sounds like game week 20 to 30 is going to be pretty quiet from a chips point of view.
I think so.
And here's the thing: if a lot of those good teams like Arsenal, Liverpool, City are going to be in having double game weeks because they have a blank game week. This internet connection. This internet connection's terrible. Sorry, I can't wait to record back at home. But if a lot of those, traditionally high-performing teams are going to have a double game week, then that a lot of those teams normally have more expensive players as well. So I would almost take the approach of game weeks 20 to 30, keep building squad value. So then literally game week 30 to 38 is when you just splash it all out and hopefully you can make up heaps of ground.
Yeah, and that's it. And if you've got your free chip in there to cover the blank, I think you're golden, and you have the opportunity to throw the money at whoever you want. So that's the thing where that's when our season will get really really interesting, is when we see that like I've built some value at about 105 million just with my moving players in and out that I think are doing well on the pitch, and stat based things. And you've obviously got your value from your price changes. So that last 10 game weeks or so, I think, is really going to be super fun and interesting, is to see these strategies really unfold, like whether you just run away with it or to see what happens. So yeah, full steam ahead.
Awesome. So good. Well, I think that's the week then. Anything else?
We just talked quickly about a differential for the next couple of weeks. Is there any player that you think might go, missed, that you think this guy is going to be my differential or could be my differential?
I have been look. The person I've been looking at is probably Ollie Watkins. I'll be honest. I genuinely want to bring him in. I'm just not trusting his minutes, but he'd be if everything aside, if had free transfer, I had enough cover, he wasn't taking up a crucial spot, Ollie Watkins would be my differential.
Cool. Mine would be Gerald Kwanzaa at Liverpool. They have lost Gomez now. He looks like he's got a bit of an injury. Kanate's still not back, so for at least a couple of weeks. Kwanzaa 3.9 million. Is going to be playing. Yes, he's probably got no confidence after his early game week 1 sub and then never returning to the pitch. But they're going to need to rely on him now. They've got some momentum going. If he can just pick up some clean sheet points, like we're not talking 15 pointers like Trent or anything like that, but if he can just pick up some clean sheets, be in there for the headers, I think he's potentially a good little differential that people may miss if they don't realise that Liverpool are missing a couple of centre backs, and it's a cheap player on a good team who's going to get minutes.
So good. Oh, awesome. Well, mate, best of luck. Best of luck. I'll make a few more transfers, maybe not, and yeah, let's touch base again next week.
Sounds good, buddy. See you next week. See you all. Thank you very much.
Awesome.